2 years ago, we lost our second son. I think that was definitely a storm that we didn't predict.
Do you know that sound can also heal our body?
I would get a lot of release when I go for sound therapy, specifically gongs.
Which means that a deaf person can actually undergo sound therapy as well.
Why do we need to wait until a storm hits before we go like, I need to pause and reflect?
Welcome to Raffles Plays podcast. Music and sound have always been able to affect our emotions and feelings. But do you know that sound can also heal our body? Having here with us today, we have Jaclyn, founder of Raffles Plays. She is a thought leader in the leadership and longevity space. Welcome, Jaclyn. Woo! Wait, ISO 1. So, Jaclyn, can you share more about yourself and what do you do?
Thanks, Eugene. So I'm Jaclyn, the founder of Radical Pause. And the main goal for Radical Pause and why it exists is to help people reframe, especially stressful executives who don't usually take the time to pause because we're so addicted to go, go, go lifestyle. Yeah, and sometimes our identity is tagged to it. So Radical Pause is really there to hold space for people, but to really ignite them to think of doing things in a different fashion and to reframe storms as gifts, whether it's in the boardroom or whether it's in their personal life, to any situation that you are being challenged with.
And one of them is true sound therapy.
Yes, thanks Melvin. I use sound more as a tool. So it's not the main show. The main show is really like getting people to think, to pause, to reframe, look at something with more clarity versus just being stuck in one direction. Getting people to process their feelings because our feelings are our superpower, and a lot of times we just have been told from a very young age that don't feel so much or snap out of it, and we don't allow ourselves to really be in that process mode.
So, Jaclyn, what is sound therapy all about? And how will you explain it to someone who knows nothing about it?
So to me, sound therapy, a lot of times people think of the bowls, think of it as very calm. You may be under a tree meditating. But really for me, what sound therapy is, it's unique to everyone. It's whatever resonates with you and makes you feel like you're in a more safe space, and a space that you're able to then grow, be creative, and to be able to relax and restore. But in this context where there's different elements of instruments, sound therapy, when we emulate it through a live experience, it's a lot more powerful because you're able to hear and feel the vibrations. So, likened to any concert, if you go to a live performance versus listening to it on Spotify or on YouTube, it's a lot more immersive because there are different sensations being absorbed, being seen, maybe even being smelt, being heard. You're able to be a lot more present in the environment. For sound therapy, especially when we play specific bowls. For example, if I were to strike this bowl, which is a crystal bowl, it's a singular note, but our bodies are porous, so it doesn't reflect the noise, so it absorbs. And also, like our bodies, is pretty much made of about 70% or more of water. And when you play a note, every note has a vibration, and it's absorbed in your body.
How is a session like with you? How will you run it?
It's always different. Sometimes there's no specific script that I go to. I really kind of read the room. I see who's in space. I was speaking to Melvin before too. It's like, I think it's really important as well to clear your body and your mind so that you're able to hold space for the people around you. So, but generally, I always want them to move from a go, go, go state or a state where they have fear or anxiety, where your nervous system is in the alert state. And we need to bring them into the parasympathetic state where they feel more calm. So I always start off by trying to get to know people. I play off one note just to get people to resonate because we all have our natural frequencies. And maybe a note that resonates with you, like this, might be actually really triggering for Joanne because we're all different. right? Maybe for Melvin, it's like, oh, this brings me to a memory. This frequency brings me to a memory. But maybe for you, it's like, oh, this frequency doesn't feel good. So in the very beginning, it's really about finding that harmony, finding that resonance to make people feel that they can switch gears in their nervous system from a fight flight into a parasympathetic nervous system
More.
where you feel more safe.
Right. So only stressed people come to you, is it?
Not only stressed people, but a lot of times stressed people do benefit the most. And it's not because I'm some like voodoo magic person. It's not a magic pill either. I just feel that as Singaporeans, and I'll speak for myself, maybe you guys are all super calm. But I feel we don't pause enough. I feel that we don't give ourselves permission to allow ourselves to be in our thoughts. So the music is one thing, the vibrations is another, but I think the first step is the acceptance, the allowance that you give to yourself to go, you know what? I'm going to put and intentionally choose to put my phone aside. And I'm actually going to choose to listen to my body.
But we'll be surprised. So, for the benefit of our viewers, right, what happened just now before this podcast session, we actually had a session with Jaclyn, and you'll be surprised by the number of people holding on to their phones and going around and then getting distracted and stuff. I think this is just very Singaporean of us to
Because you never experienced before, ma. First time you want to
in our
record it,
work.
how is it?
Yeah. And it's so hard nowadays to get out of the phone and to get out of the work we are doing to just be in a space. So I think whatever Jack just did just now was
We
actually
will feel that if we slow down, oh, we're becoming lazy already.
Yeah,
But actually, it's taking care of our own self also.
I think
Yeah.
Singaporeans just have this mindset as well.
I think it's not only Singaporeans. I think it's just the world we live in right now is so fast paced. And sometimes in the blink of an eye, I mean, right now, in the blink of an eye, half this year is gone,
Yeah, it's June
right?
already.
And I just remember saying Happy New Year, and then now we are in June.
Yeah,
But a lot of
So
times
fast,
we're
too fast.
running so quickly, but sometimes in the wrong directions.
right.
And it's about, yes, incorporating the sound. There is a physical healing that you mentioned, Eugene. That's because, again, our body is made of water, right? And it helps when we're taking in frequencies, it helps vibrate because there's a lot of maybe someone had unintentionally or intentionally had said bad words to you, had given you thoughts that you were not good enough. A lot of times, words is vibrations too, and it's stored in your body. And if
Oh.
we're not conscious to actually think about it, sometimes it develops and it gets more and more stuck. So, but when we allow certain vibrations that make us feel more at ease, when our parasympathetic nervous system becomes more able to relax and to receive, it also helps regulate our body.
Mm.
It helps us that stuck energy that's not really good for you to you are then in a more conscious state also to see how can I choose to let that part go.
So I've heard of sound baths and sound therapy.
Yes.
What is the difference between the two?
So to be honest, right now it's very much used interchangeably. A sound bath is essentially an engulfment for you to be immersed in sounds. Same thing for sound therapy because in a sense the therapy itself is the vibrations, is within the pause, is within the facilitator being able to curate that session for you. But how I do it a little bit differently with y'all experience is I don't just focus on sound therapy. For me, sound therapy is say it like the icing and the cake is actually or the hero is actually the persons in the room. And I'm asking you specific prompts to think about a storm, which is what we did, and we looked at how we could reframe. But I use sound to help you tune in more into your feelings. I use sound to help you let go of certain distractions. Because again, like a live music, you're able to then be more immersed. So it can be applied differently, but even just immersing yourself with one bowl on your own, I think not only it's the frequency, but are you allowing yourself to breathe? As long as you take long, deep breaths, making your exhales more intentional, it's easier to do it when there's a facilitated vibration around you. But to be honest, Joanne, you can do it in silence. You can do it while listening to your favorite music. Whatever resonates with you and is allowing you to come to that pause, that reflection. And different instruments cater to different people. And one last thing to say is different instruments, maybe one instrument for you resonates today. It doesn't mean that that's your instrument forever, because whatever you feel today, your tomorrow could be very different.
Right.
Tomorrow could be decorated with celebrations, your energy shifted, you've just crushed your goal. Or it could be decorated with grief. Maybe someone like honked at you because you drive wrongly. Or something where someone like was just a real asshole, to be honest, and said something that you totally didn't deserve. Shifted your energy. You store certain things, whether anger, fear, and then you go into a sound bath, your energy level is different too. So a different instrument might resonate more with you because you're in a different pattern. Yeah.
You're in a different state.
Different state. Yeah.
So actually, it's just like psychology with sound, right?
Yeah. I mean, there is, again, it's very facilitator driven. So I'm also a yoga instructor. And sometimes, like I was telling Melvin before, it's so important for us to be able to clear our mind if we had a bad argument before. Because if I go into a room and I'm trying to hold space, that is a movement versus a sound. But people can feel my energy if I'm coming from a state of anger or fear or anxiety or depression or whatever state. But if I don't clear myself to be able to then provide positive energy, people will feel it. That's not a sound session. But now bring it to a sound session when people are even more receptive. So just now you sat down, but sometimes we are lying down on pillows. We have our eye masks. Just now I did like the sprays, the sound, the sense, all the different emotions. And when I make you feel more comfortable, you're a lot more open. In yoga too, sometimes we make you go into a much more open position where your chest is like erect, so then you're able to receive more. But again, if you're receiving from an instructor that you don't feel safe, remember the two nervous systems, right? Your sympathetic side, which is like the fight, flight, protect, will be on, and you won't be able to relax.
So I would say that the sound or sense or the five senses, they are actually just catalysts for a counseling session. Am I right to say that?
I would say all elements, because as a human being, firstly, we're so privileged that we have five senses, right? But specifically to sound, because there's a vagus nerve that connects from the base of your skull, all from your throat to your heart, down to your gut. And it's activated through, in terms of the sensitivity to sound specifically. So when you play more grounded sounds, it activates that to feel like I'm in a safe zone. And when that vagus nerve is in the opposite side, you feel like you're not able to trust because you're in the fight flight mode. But it's your human way of protecting you, which is why when you put your hand on the stove, you move, right? It's you're not even thinking, your body is reacting even before, because there is signals.
Safety mechanism.
It's a safety mechanism. But then in our thoughts too, it's like maybe our limiting belief, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve that. Sometimes it's because it's trying to protect you from failure. But then sometimes we get stuck in there too much because no, we need to overcome. We can believe, but through a reflection and intentional pause, thinking like, actually, I can do things. Or through certain sounds that are higher pitched, then your mind's clearer. Then you go, you know what? Why am I allowing myself to be like brought down and almost destroyed by my own baggages, my own thoughts? But I'm not, we are not our thoughts, right? But a lot of times, I myself included, I allow myself to think my thoughts are true. But then the question is, are those really facts? Am I building my
We
own story?
subconsciously
Yeah.
just go with it, right? Yeah.
So to answer your question, it is part of the five senses, but the specific sound element, what we're hearing, does connect with the vagus nerve, and certain frequencies help you feel more safe.
which means that a deaf person can actually undergo sound therapy as well.
Oh, I actually thought yes,
Right.
because it's the vibrations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you don't really need to hear things.
I know the ears are the last sensors to go when you die. Eh?
Was it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about.
So when your deathbed, you can still undergo sound therapy.
Maybe I never thought of that, but because it coming back to the part that we're porous and we're water, whether you hear or not, because the vibrations are absorbed, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
I never thought of that.
I would like to try a deaf. I mean,
On your deathbed.
no, not on my deathbed. No, I would like to see a deaf person.
So in summary, right, sound therapy helps you to reflect on yourself, look back at yourself, and also clear the checkpoints that's been blocking you. Is it?
Yes, if that's the way it's facilitated. But there's a lot of sound therapy out there that it's more passive. So some instructors will start off with breath work, movement, which I did in the beginning. Some might go straight into, okay, let's just lie down, put a sleep mask and go. So it really depends on the facilitator. Same thing for yoga. Someone might start seated, some might start lying down, some might start standing, right? So it really depends on the facilitator and how they structure it. A lot of people come from sound therapy because they're very stressed and they want to sleep and they just want to relax. So a more passive, maybe what I let you experience just now would be sometimes yes or no for them. Some of them just want to like listen to the vibrations, absorb, and then you get a damn good sleep after. You also you're encouraged to also drink a lot to hydrate because there's a lot of things actually going inside you.
Yeah, actually, I got very thirsty
Yeah.
after that. I don't know what.
There's a lot of things going on.
I finished 2 bottles. Good.
I forgot to
Immediately.
teach you that. Yeah, you do need to hydrate.
So it's a
It's a very physical sensation as well because again your body is absorbing, and I was sharing with you every time I facilitate a session. Remember I told you guys come closer.
Yeah.
But I'm the one playing and the bowls are right in front of me. I'm always sweaty.
Right.
I just get very, very hot because the vibrations are coming like direct to me because it travels around, right? And I'm getting the direct feedback of all the different vibrations as well.
Can we take a look at all these instruments
Yeah,
and can you introduce some? What are some iconic things that that you usually use?
Okay, so I like to use the crystal bowls because it's a clearer note than, for example, a Tibetan bowl, or some people call it a singing bowl. So each of these instruments are individual notes, but if you compare a crystal bowl to a Tibetan singing bowl, you still have a bass note, but there's a lot of harmonics around it. In terms of vibrations, a lot more comes out of a singing bowl. But in a more intimate setting, like where we're at, or when we do like one-on-one therapy sessions, singing bowls are a lot more effective because the vibrations are absorbed more. There's something called a somatic massage, which we put
A what massage?
like a somatic. So we can put like the bowl on your body, and then and sometimes we do it like on your hands.
How does it help?
Because it just helps with the vibration going direct. So it's more almost like women, we like to go for facials, right? And there's like red light therapy, there's like ultrasound, different things. End of the day, it's all waves. And different waves can go deeper. Right? So in this case, it's also just the closer proximity versus like something that's further away. So these are clearer notes. So same thing, the Tibetan bowls are singing bowls.
How do you know like when to use which? Is there any sequence? Like, oh, when I'm feeling this, I hit this. When I'm feeling that, I hit that.
Okay. You sequence within a session, or just on when you play.
When do you know when to play each during the session?
I always go by feeling, but essentially, I think the general rule of thumb that I always use is, what do I want someone to feel? I already know what's the sensations in terms of specific notes or instruments. For example, this is a lot more grounding. This is a little bit higher pitch.
When do you use the grounding one?
So at the very beginning too, to kind of just like get people to feel more safe. But I use this for the session just prior to this in the beginning, middle, and the end. So it can be used in different areas, but I wouldn't start by going straight into a jarring instrument, for example, ocean drum. So as you close your eyes,
I think you have to go to the
close
mic.
your eyes,
Yeah.
you take a big inhale. And then a deep exhale. Deep inhale.
I'm not sure whether I got close the window.
And a deep exhale. One more. Deep, deep, victorious inhale. And exhale.
Well, I feel like I'm at a beach.
Yeah, like an ocean crashing over you.
The first thing I remember is my mother got close the window. Like really, you know.
But okay, actually, I want to take that back. So I was saying avoid starting with this. It depends how you play it again. So, like with every instrument, it doesn't mean like if I was playing a normal band, like cannot start a piano, only can start a guitar, or only can start with a. Not necessarily so. But if you played it very gentle and I asked you to breathe, like into what I did, it can be right at the start. But if I played it
I feel very tensed up already.
it might be quite triggering.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it really depends on the facilitator, what's the intention. So I take it back. There's no thing that you cannot start with. But I think the main thing is that you need to shift someone from sympathetic, like, to parasympathetic. So, but it can be done through different instruments.
So it's like telling story with sounds actually. It's just need to
Exactly.
craft how you want to
But
flow
the
the.
important thing is your facilitator must have the right intention.
Yeah, and like I want to build on what Melvin just mentioned, the facilitator having the right intention. So again, blanket statement. But I don't think any facilitator, unless they're witch, and will come in going, I want to make people feel like shit and I want to create anxiety. I think everyone wants it to land well. So in terms of that, I believe everyone either has no intention because they never plan and they're just like they just come in like, right? Yeah.
Do I need to come
So because there's a lot of people who just like rush and they didn't think about like setting an intention. But if they did have an intention, which I always suggest and recommend, I don't think anyone comes in as a facilitator to want to have bad impact. However, likened to when's the last time, Eugene, that someone came up to you and said something really bad, made you feel like shit. And then they said, you know what, Eugene, that was not my intention. But then you go, but walao, you made me feel like shit. So I always coach my team the difference between intention and impact because we can all have great intentions, but if it was not communicated well, either well in terms of the tonality, the words used, the setting, whether I considered your feelings, right? Impact could be very negative, even though you know what, I had the best intention, Eugene. That made me feel shit.
This is just like saying, hey, I don't mean to say you're fat, but you're fat.
Are
Yeah,
you?
like, but my intention is not to make you feel that way, right?
Yeah, sorry, my intention's not me.
Yeah, so but to bring it back here, like I don't think any facilitator will, because firstly, it costs money to buy all this.
Yeah.
Costs money to go and get the course to plan, bring all your barang somewhere
Yeah.
to actually facilitate. So I don't think anyone's like, wow, you know what? I'm gonna make Joanne feel like shit today. Right? But again, if you don't clear yourself, you don't have the right intention, you're not actually putting the audience as the priority to hold space for them and what you think of like what journey do I want to bring them, what outcome, what kind of release, or is it a calming space? If you don't actually have that in your repertoire and your goals of how you want your symphony to land, then it could land very badly.
Are there cases where people who attend actually feel very emotional after the session
Yes.
and even cry.
Very much so. I think today the setting was not ideal. We were all either sitting on or like
it's very
lying
corporate.
on a cold, hard floor.
Point taken.
But like for example, once you feel again, the reason why it's not that you cannot do it on a cold hard floor, but it takes longer for me to like move you from one system
Uncomfortable lah.
to
Yeah.
comfortable. But if it's feels safe, people are really able to be more vulnerable. Today, I didn't bring the mallet for the gong, but for me, gongs really make me feel like a lot of sensation. It evokes a lot of emotions. When I talked about the release section, I usually spend a lot more time there because now people have recognized where are they in the storm, reflected what is keeping me stuck, right? And then the part about like, do I want to let go or not? And then I go in a little bit more around like, what's holding you back? Feel your emotions because your emotions are your superpower,
I'm right.
right? But then sometimes as humans, we don't give ourselves the permission to feel because maybe at a younger age, you were told,
You cannot feel that way.
or
Cannot
especially
cry.
for boys.
Yeah. You have to be man enough. Yeah.
But you know, if you don't
So familiar this conversation.
If you allow yourself to match your emotions to what you're currently feeling, how are you going to let it go? And it's going to be stored. Remember, I mentioned stored energy, right? I have a very strange relationship with anger. I actually don't get angry. I probably like got angry like maybe before this year. This year I got angry many times. But I think I can count like less than 10 times because straight away if I'm angry, I'll somehow laugh it off, like pretend it's not.
So next time when we see you laugh, you know you're angry. Not like now.
No, but basically, maybe when I reflected at a very young age, it was told that girls cannot be angry, or as a proper child, anger is not something that you should allow yourself to feel.
Right.
So in the different like main emotions, anger was always something that I didn't have a really good relationship with, and I didn't allow myself to understand. But I realized that actually frustration is part of the anger family. Annoyance is also part of the anger family because it's not part of the sad family or the happy feeling, right? There are 5 main feelings, but under the umbrella of anger, there's actually a lot of subsets. But anyway, today is not a coaching session. But I realized that when I get angry, I push it off and I don't allow myself to address it. So this year, I have a life coach, executive coach that's working with me specifically on the feeling of anger. And so there's techniques, put a towel, scream into it, hit your
It's like
pillow.
process.
And it's just like, huh? Why you do these kind of things? But I did it, or scream in your car to allow yourself to feel and try to match that anger. Match it, then you're able to recognize, then you're able to release.
Right.
You don't match, you don't recognize. That's why in the imagery of the storm, if we have more time, we'll go into the feeling, feel it. And some people, again, you all need to feel safe amongst each other to
Right.
feel like
Yeah.
it's okay. Maybe we will scream together.
No.
But yes, to answer your question, Joanne, a lot of people cry.
That's a
And
good thing.
yeah, because
Release ma.
they didn't allow themselves to actually be in their thoughts. Or, for example, you're talking about music on someone's deathbed. So I lost my mom in November last year. And I would bring my tongue drum because I can't bring everything else. And she had a stroke. So I would just play by her bedside and just like kind of like, I don't know if she's hearing because she cannot react to me. She cannot speak. Sometimes her eyes open, but it's not because I'm
Disturbing.
talking to her. I don't know if she's reacting to me. But now you say it, I was like, yeah. For me, it was just more as like it was a release and a way to connect. And it was great because it was in Tantok Sing, so all the other aunties in the ward also can enjoy it. And they go like, yeah, you coming tomorrow? But
Free
yeah,
therapy.
yeah, I think it's an expression, and Again, it's the vibrations, but same thing for Spotify. In the morning now, I wake up playing the 40 hertz. Everyone can just go online, play 40 hertz.
Why 40 hertz?
For you to, it's zoned to also help you be in the gamma state. There's different states from delta state, theta state, beta state. We won't get into it, but like for those who are listening and you want to geek out, just go geek out around the different like frequencies. Just go on Spotify, play it if you want to get to the more sleeping mode, because you might not have a facilitator with you all day to be able to go for sound therapy. But again, it's the frequencies. In those sets, you're hearing from your ears and then it goes to your mind, body then resets. You're not getting the physical vibration, but it's still helping.
So that's morning wake up is gamma. You have to get gamma.
I mean, it's
Gamma.
best to wake up and like play some gamma. Like you don't want to go back into like sleep mode. Yeah.
So alarm must put gamma mode.
So if I don't come to work and I overslept, you know why lah? wrong way.
Picking up on what he said just now, that boys usually they hold their emotions more to themselves, right? So do you get more male clients?
I mean, predominantly deep work is usually it attracts more females because I think females are
Oh, is it?
more open to it.
To try also.
Oh.
But I feel a lot of my most powerful conversations have been with men because when they do realize the importance, they're so grateful that I was able to facilitate a session where they could feel safe to be in their thoughts. Because a lot of times, again, people don't give permission. They're so caught up in it becomes the identity of doing chaos, different things, right? That this is who I am. But is it really? Because I was that, but now I'm aware of it. Doesn't mean that I've completely mastered the art of being more zen or being okay with the not doing, but I'm at least more aware and I'm more open to sharing because we can't operate at that level all the time. It's not
it's said
possible.
to be
You
in-
can, but
yeah,
like it's gonna
that
bite you
crash
back.
yeah, right.
It's gonna bite you back, and when your nervous system is in not in a relaxed mode, it affects your what you eat because you start binge eating. It also affects how your body stores fat because it's always like in that reserve money to keep. But when you're in a more relaxed state, you're able to be more open. Actually, things flow so much better. So your health starts coming, your clarity of mind because your relationship building comes. So it's all interconnected.
Is there any common trigger for people to realize that I need to take a pause in my life and I need to start going on therapy?
For a specific sound therapy
Uh,
or any therapy.
Any therapy.
To be honest, I think it's usually when people have an unpredictable storm that was hit to them. And
Something
my goal is to get people to catch themselves prior to that happening. Because why do we need to wait until a storm hits before we go like, I need to pause and reflect, or I need to work on my health, I need to sleep better, I need to invest in my relationships. But a lot of times, as I mentioned, we run fast. We're not looking, we might be in the complete wrong direction until we go, you know what? I ran all the way to Japan. Right from Singapore. Like how? How did you get that far? Right? Did you not pause at the checkpoint at Malaysia first? Somehow just like and go through Thailand and up, right? Or I don't even know if you can get to Japan from that way. But essentially, like I mean for me, to be very honest, like my first pause was about 7 years ago. I was 12 kg lighter. I have an autoimmune disease, type 1 diabetes, that I didn't know. And I found out through a health test, which is why I'm so passionate about please get your screening done. Please go and get your health check because if you don't know what is going on in your body, how are you going to work on it, right? But long story short, I almost died. My blood sugars were off the charts. And it wasn't until I was injecting myself with insulin, and I still am. I'm connected to an insulin pump now. Without it, I cannot survive. But it was in my injections. And from being so skinny to being on injections, I gained 20 kg within like less than a month. Because my body was, insulin firstly helps you absorb your food and convert the sugar into energy. My body was in starvation mode because I had no insulin. My pancreas is dead or not pretty much dead. So when I started being on medication, my body was like, store. Don't know when's the next time I'm going to.
Reserve thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was a pause because I was from being very skinny to like, wow, I got thigh gap. Like everything can wear to suddenly looking like a fishball. Yeah, and it wasn't just a physical vanity thing from skinny to being heavier, more round, but it was a cognitive thing. Like I lost my capability to be sharp. You would ask me a question, I'll be like, catch no ball, blank,
Fuzzy.
fuzzy, brain fog all the
Fuzzy.
time. And I think that, Joanne, that really hit my confidence because vanity is one, but my inability to be able to be clear in my communication, I really had a huge identity crisis then. Because if I didn't look like what I liked, I didn't sound or was able to convey my thoughts from something that I was familiar with, then who am I? And it was a huge breaking point because it made me really pause and think, who am I when I'm without all these capabilities? And would I still accept myself if I was stripped of all that? And it was a huge personal journey for me. And it's still something that I haven't mastered because even if all those competencies and skill sets were stripped now, like I'll go back to the drawing table. I would say I've evolved because I've had 7 years to really reflect. But yeah, my identity was very much in what I do and the ability to do it.
I'm just curious, like, yeah, after you know all these things that's happening, what made you start with sound therapy? Or was sound therapy the first thing that you start, or
So the first time I got introduced to sound therapy was when I was working at Lululemon. So I was Lululemon, yes.
Okay.
So my role was to manage Southeast Asia, and like I also needed to understand from everything from strength training to CrossFit to yoga to sound therapy. So the different types of modalities that's outside the different studios, get to know different ambassadors, and that was my first, I guess, exposure to sound therapy. But it was very much one of the many things. It was not until different storms hit. And in those storms, like I said, ideally we do it before the storms hit. You then start thinking of what are counselor, what are therapies, where do I need to help be a little bit more clearer in my thoughts. And sound therapy really helped, especially in the second storm beyond my diabetes, my type 1 diabetes. 2 years ago, actually, I didn't think I was going to share this, but 2 years ago, we lost our second son. And
Oh wow.
when we lost him, I think that was definitely a storm that we didn't predict. And I would go to just specific gong sound bath because it doesn't have to be many instruments. Straight away, she strut because there's so much grief, so much emotions that I didn't process. Because when that happens, everyone's texting you. There's actually a lot of logistics to handle. Yeah, so I would get a lot of release when I go for sound therapy, specifically gongs. But again, gongs for me resonate, and it was a release. But maybe gong doesn't work for you,
Yeah.
right? Again, so it's different.
Everybody's different.
Yeah, just for me, when I'm in a state of needing like that clarity, that release, gongs is like kind of my instrument that I found. But even gongs, there's so many different kinds of gongs. How the person play also, which mallet they use also. But I'm not sure if that answers your question.
I think maybe it's more of like, so after you experience this already, so you went to go and learn sound therapy and execute it
Yeah.
for.
So yes, to your question. So I got exposed to it in my Lululemon, but then I got a lot more deeper as a recipient.
Mm,
And one of my best friends, Vicky, she knows I love to learn. So for my birthday, she actually bought me a sound instructor course. Because I really
so
wanted
there
to
is
go
a
to
course.
yeah.
Oh.
And I really wanted to go to Nepal, but she got me a course here, and then that was kind of the start of it.
Right.
The start of like there's no one specific instrument. He taught in terms of what are the dissonant sounds, what's harmony, and how to kind of like read the room. And after that, I just became a collector of different instruments. Many different kinds.
That's where you start.
Yeah. My next thing is to get like a big gong, but
So you receive help from people, and now you're giving back to help more people. lah.
I hope so. I mean, and coming back to intention, that's the intention, but hopefully the impact is that. But I also am learning to release. Not everyone will receive it in the way that I have the intention for.
Yeah.
So maybe some people it's not for them, but maybe I wasn't the right facilitator for them.
Or maybe they weren't ready for it.
Or maybe they didn't allow themselves to be safe, right? So there's multiple
Mhm.
factors. But I feel like it's a huge privilege to be able to help people reframe, shift. But I think even before the reframe is just allow yourself to be in your thoughts and listen to your body. What are your emotions telling you? What are your feelings telling you? And not say like, oh, anger, like in my case, anger not good. I want to talk about the happy things. That's not
That's
real,
avoidance
right?
therapy,
Mm.
man.
Yeah, man.
That's not true.
Yeah.
But I mean, having said that, you were talking about framing and stuff, and you were using some, was it 4 or 5R?
5.
5R, right? That would,
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
that's 3. I also got 3C. Yeah, so maybe you want to share a little bit more on that, like, because I felt that was a key thing in the therapy.
Oh, thanks.
It's what separates Eugene hitting the instrument and you hitting the instrument, or me hitting the instrument. Like you got the 5Rs and my wife only got 3R lah. So reduce, reuse, and recycle. Maybe you'd like to share a little bit on.
So actually the 5 R's are within the framework called the vault.
Mm.
So the vault is VAULT, like
Vault.
like the
Vault,
vault,
vault.
the safe, right? So the imagery is more of like a lot of times we forget to tune inwards, to pause and allow ourselves to realize that we have a lot of treasures that make us who we uniquely are. And to stop having to compare, your treasures, Joanne, are beautiful, but they are different from mine. I might not ever have the same treasures as you, or Melvin or Eugene, right? But a lot of times we start comparing, we think our treasures are not good enough. So
Always.
always, right?
Always.
I mean, I battle with that all the time. But the question here is to let everyone know, like, you have a vault. Everyone has a vault, and inside your treasures are damn precious. So the first, but it's also an acronym. V stands for vulnerability. You must first have the courage to look inside, and it requires the pause. Because how do you look inside if you're like running around? But are you able to have the courage to look inside and then to recognize what's inside? So vulnerability, there's a whole chapter and like things I've created around that. Then A, once you've opened up the door, is what's inside, right? Is your authenticities, your North Stars. And that's your core values, what makes your strengths, like who you are outside of your clothes, outside of your titles, outside of all the things that people can see. So that's A. And then once you've realized that courage to be seen, to look inside, not only let you give the curiosity to see someone else, but let people see you, your stars, your authenticity, which is A. U is where the 5 R's live. So U stands for uplifting. So then we get very much into what are you dealing with in terms of your storm. recognize how dark it is. Is it a light drizzle? Is it very torrential and you feel like completely like swept up in the vortex? Like Eugene, yours was very, very skinny, very tall.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's vortex imagery is different. And then the 5 R's come in terms of where you are to recenter. So the last R is recenter. First R, recognize. Once you acknowledge that you're in a storm, like, come on, let's get real. Like, it's not pretend that the storm doesn't exist.
It's an acknowledging part.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then big, heavy, dark, all that. Then recognize, are you in the storm?
Mm.
Like this, in the vortex?
Mm.
Are you in the middle? And it's okay, wherever you're at, but be honest. Then reflect.
Mm.
Is it a limiting belief? Is it a fear or even that hidden commitment of maybe like that responsibility commitment that's chaining you, weighing you down, such that even though you know that the center is a better place to be, somehow maybe you're familiar with the fear and you're like, you know what, this is my protect. I'd rather stay here.
Comfort lah.
Yeah, because I fear paise ma, fear this. And even though I know this is better, but I don't want. And actually allow myself to be stuck in the vortex. But if you don't recognize that, then you can't even like choose whether you want to combat that or not.
Mm.
Then the third R is then we go into that release, recognizing
The gong. For you.
your thoughts. Your thoughts is your thoughts, but you're not your thoughts. We're so much more than that. And then what are we allowing ourselves to think? We're not our fears. We're not our commitments. Right? So then you release, and then there's the multiple things in terms of you separating yourself from what's not serving you. And my favorite is radical gratitude, which is why radical lives in
Oh, that's
radical pause.
the hard one.
Yeah, but
Okay.
first, like radical comes from the word radis. It's a Latin word which means to root. And it's like, what are you rooting down on? Because the storm is there, but are you allowing that storm to control you? Are you allowing that storm to make you feel like you're the victim and that you have no control? Are you allowing the storm to say, for you to say, yeah, why is this happening to me? Very victim.
Mm.
Why to me then? Singaporeans, right? We're very good at complaining.
But I think this is quite a natural instinct of everybody to do that.
Yeah.
You blame left, blame right, never blame yourself.
Why like that?
The most difficult is, like you said, it's then how am I changing from victim to me to how is this happening for me?
For me, yeah.
And
That's very hard. That is very
it's very hard.
Yeah.
And every situation is a new center to find. And you're changing your relationship with the storm. You go, you know what, storm, you're there. You're damn ugly, damn smelly, dark.
But
you're
thank you for being
heavy.
here.
But then we then go like, you know what, thank you for being there, but you know what, I don't need you anymore. Right? Which was part of the release.
Yeah.
And then shifting like, okay, from to me to for me, what is the meaning? Why is this storm allowed in my story? How can I see the storm as a gift? And it's very hard.
Very tough. I
And-
cannot imagine.
And what I mentioned, the difference is radical gratitude is different from gratitude. So gratitude is, I look back on hindsight, 3 years ago, this happened. I'm very thankful for this. Radical gratitude is when the storm is now. You're in it, you're seeing it, it's heavy, it's there, and it's not going away. Or you cannot control it going, or you don't know how long it's going to be.
Yeah.
But are you willing to see the storm as a gift when the storm is there?
Tough.
When you
So be
don't know
thankful
how
for
long.
what you're experiencing now. lah.
Yeah. And try to see
In the storm.
Mm.
see the meaning. What is this? Like we drew cards this morning around like inspiration cards. Like I believe, was it yours that like the stumble to a dance?
So easy to remember. Until now she remembers it.
And how do you see like mistakes as opportunities? It's all reframing, right? Because why did I need to go through this? But then think about, okay, what can I learn? And you're pursuing and you're so like kiasu for like, I need this meaning now. But this can only be done through deep work. Again, don't need instruments, but are you allowing yourself to think there because it's not a ask ChatGPT and then like there,
Yeah.
AI and different LLM models can definitely provide different support in terms of that thought process, but it requires time. It requires feelings.
It's a lot of emotional work that you are doing there through the process and like feeling the room to like guiding through your patients through the therapy. Do you feel emotionally drained?
Yes. I was telling
She
Melvin
was
this.
she was just telling me sessions cannot be back to back one.
Because if I'm truly holding space for you, I'm really holding energy, and
Giving a lot.
I'm giving a lot. Yeah, and it does deplete. But for me, I feel it's such a privilege. Like, I love doing it. I feel like when I go into boardrooms and I see, you ask crying, right? Do people cry? I've ever held meetings for executive teams where I get them to look into each other's eyes and see themselves beyond like finance director, CTO, COO, because it's always title. But how do I see you as a son to someone else? A brother, see you beyond your title and just look at you through your eyes and see you as Joanne, right? Cry, so much crying because we don't allow ourselves to be seen, which is why coming back to the vault fee is, are we allowing ourselves to have the courage to, yes, see others, but see ourselves first and allow others to see us? So yes, it's a lot of energy related work, which is why I find right now I'm trying to find this equanimity, which is the balance of strength and ease of things I do because I love what I do at Radical Pause. But I also love what I do at my corporate job. I don't think I could do Radical Pause all the time, which is why I'm quite selective with my clientele. I really, really like doing work with executive team, not because I do not want to do it with the greater team, but I feel like if you can change the mindset, people get more unified in the executive team, then it trickles down. Right. And then I get invited to do like more like team specific related things. But if you're only changing from the bottom, and if the leadership doesn't see it the same way, it's not as impactful because
He has
it
to
needs
start first.
it needs to start with the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has to
And
start first.
yeah, so that's why my work that I love most to doing is not brand launches. So I've done different brand launches or working with influencers or KOLs. It's really working with C-suite people, leadership team. And it's not only just getting to know each other, but when you clear your mind, you're able to strategize, you're able to vision plan, you're able to go, this is not the most efficient, let's change the process. But you're clearer and you're doing it as a team.
Actually, I'm very curious now that you open this can of worms.
Yes.
Like, because it's not easy to, in a corporate setting, have a crying session like this. Or maybe, okay, I won't use the word crying. I will probably use the word like sharing or
Letting out your emotions.
conscious work. Like, what are the resistance? Do you have to prime them first, frame them first, or do you have to start with the management first and then you go down to the workers? Or I'm just curious, like, how did that actually?
I mean, it's very different. So sometimes I'm like invited by tech companies. I've ever been invited to crypto companies and to different changes, and also specifically when there was management changes, and people are like, "How? What's going on? Who is going to be my leader?" All this. Then it's more of like just doing it straight with the team and going like, "Okay, what feelings are you feeling right now? Okay, where do we need to anchor in terms of a North Star?" Then I've workshop with different people around creating their company core values because they did not have core values. So then,
It's just work.
yeah, we all have different whats, right?
Yeah.
Like your role is different from Eugene's role, is different from your role, Melvin. Those are your whats. But is there a common thread of how you're going to be doing things in the same way? Like if I promote Eugene, do people think that I promote Eugene because I like Eugene? Or am I, no, these are all the hows, and it's the same criteria as what I grade Joanne. Your whats are different, but how he's delivering it, but it needs to be consistent.
Yeah.
And those are like, especially during people transitions, whenever there's a navigation of change, it always requires deep work. So yeah, I've started from hosting from like more of the ground level to management level.
Not at the same time, right?
The same sitting. Yeah.
Sometimes same time, sometimes
Really?
dedicated.
Wow.
The one where the finance director was crying was actually an executive team. It's actually part of a hotel, but I won't name the hotel. I came home and told my husband like, "Oh, I made some people cry,"
So do
and
you
then
feel
he
good?
said,
Yay.
"He said, is that your new KPI now?" So I was like, "I don't know. It just happened, but it felt very magical."
I'm very curious. Having helped so many people, right? Is there any change that you have seen that make you feel my job is damn worth it?
When I make people cry.
Yeah. Like there's so much meaning in my work. Like the biggest meaning, the most meaningful change.
I mean, the short answer is yes. And it's come in different ways. I think for me, as long as I'm able to, and I don't want to pretend that I am the be all and all. Come to me and like, wow, suddenly like your whole world is like a lot more clear. But I recognize that if I'm able to be almost your gateway drug, I was able to evoke certain interests, motivation for change. Maybe you continue doing sessions with me, but maybe it goes like, you know what? I need to do something about this, or it activates certain things. Then yes, to answer your questions, like I was part of your journey. I don't need to anchor your entire journey because I only have limited skill sets. And no matter even though and skill sets in terms of instruments or like yoga, but even in my leadership, like yes, now I'm working in a longevity company. I've worked in fitness and wellness companies, but still, there's still so many other industries that I don't know, right? Within each industry, there's different roles. So I don't claim to be able to know everything, but if I'm able to evoke change, evoke a new perspective, a reframe, then I think I have done a little part of helping you on your journey.
What's the biggest change that you have seen? Like, like wow, when he came here, it was like that. After the session, he was a totally different person. Is there such cases?
Yeah, but I won't relate it to sound actually. I relate it because sound and also for me goes into like silent therapy. So I brought my team.
Silent therapy?
Yeah.
What's that?
Okay. So I basically go like you're not allowed to speak.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And you're in your thoughts. So could be we lead with sound and then after that you're on your thoughts. So I led my team in my Technogym days to Malaysia for an offsite. And basically at the end of the awards night, I said, okay, everyone come. Okay, now from the time you sleep, you cannot speak to anybody all the way until lunchtime tomorrow. They're all like, huh? So I was like, go and call your husband, tell your wife, everything. Even when you wake up, if for those who are sharing rooms, wake up, you can nod, but no eye contact, and just come and meet me at the restaurant. And the restaurant, yeah. So the restaurant was busy, chaotic hotel breakfast. I provided a corner. I gave them some briefs. I was like, okay, we're going to go through this entire thing. You're not allowed to look at your phone. You're not allowed to speak, but I want you to engage your senses, your five senses. Taste your food like without distraction. Smell things. Be in your thoughts. Journal. And then we'll meet back. So I'll give you two examples. So at Technogym, we have everyone from your sales team to your marketing team to your technicians. So usually technicians are like more strong, they are not very in tune stereotypically with their feelings or talking about feelings.
Very
Right.
physical.
Yeah.
people.
We had people from stating that, I saw this dish and it reminded me of my grandma and he came crying. And another one shared about how it's really tough being a father because he has two special needs kids. To another one that said, sorry, I did use my phone. I had to call my wife, but I didn't speak a word. I said, sign language, I love you. Because I realized I have not told her that in a long time. These came from my technicians. And I was just like, but it's the pause. So again, the medium is we're talking about sound, but the thing is all this comes back to like, are you willing to pause and think about what you're grateful for? Are we able to activate our senses? But I'll give you one more story. So I have an office manager, so she helps me with like the HR aspect and any kind of admin. Her previous work was very strict. So she wasn't allowed to speak up or like work outside the box or think creatively. Everything is very like, tell me what to do, then I do. And she would actually come to me. She's always like, Jack, how come you can always think of things differently? How come you're so creative? And I'm like, okay, firstly, I don't like people say nice things about me. I feel very uncomfortable. But more as like, no, but you can do it. But so she's roughly in her 60s, so older lady. She came in and we were all doing the sharing, right? So I talked from like the technicians to some people saying, I'm never going to drink coffee again. I realized I don't need coffee. So different people had different realizations from that silent. She raised her hand and said, I want to share. And so I said, yes, L, I'll just put L. What would you like to share? And then she said, I want to share with everyone that I like guava juice. I realized that I like guava juice. And I was just like, huh? Like, I was like, all these deep things about like call my wife, this. And in my mind, okay, here I'm completely take ownership. I was super judgmental and critical in my mind. I was like, walao, why you want to share these kind of things? Like at least share something deeper, right?
Yeah, you must love guava
But
juice.
I corrected myself and I was like, okay, Jack, stay in the spirit of curiosity and non-judgment. So then I said, okay, Elle, tell me why was that something that you felt like you really needed to share? Because she's not someone that speaks up,
Oh, right.
right? So she's the typical person that follows within the box, keeps quiet. And this was where I felt the most humbled. So Eugene, this story is something that I always like, it's like inked in my head. Because she said, I'm 60 or almost 60, I can't remember. And she's like, I've been drinking orange juice every single morning since young, and I never explored anything else. But because you challenged me, and because there was different kinds of juices, and no one was talking to me, I didn't have my phone, I actually took the time to try every single juice. And she's like, damn, guava juice is so much better. But that blew my mind because I was like, firstly, I cried because firstly, why was I so judgmental and critical? Right. But the biggest thing that happened after, when we came back to Singapore, she would come to me with solutions on things that when she hits a problem, she's like, hey, have we considered doing this? Because I was like,
That's not you.
You've changed.
I want to celebrate you. Like, you're coming with these things. Then she's like, yeah, after that time, really a lot more open. She was like a little bit more free, So, yeah.
No, Rick, oh God, I can't put into perspective like
drinking orange juice
It
for
was just
60
habit.
years of
Yeah,
my
it's just
life.
habit. Like, don't even pivot. I don't even know if she
Yeah.
changed brand, right? Yeah, it was always the same thing because it's like, this is what's good.
right.
And she didn't explore. But now that she explores, it then translated into other aspects of her life. So that's the same thing. Like, I think when we take the courage to actually want to dare to explore, this is one avenue.
Right.
So sound therapy is great. It has body sensations, helps with your vagus nerves, it helps you absorb your energy, helps you pause. But end of
It's
the
just
day,
a
I think
medium.
it's
Yeah.
just a medium.
Yeah, it's just a medium.
Yeah, that's why I always say it's not like a hocus pocus thing.
A quick fire question. What is one of the most weird and most interesting sound therapy session you ever encountered
Weird.
while masking the case? Masking the name.
What do you mean by masking the name?
Like
That means you don't
don't have
reveal
to
the name.
reveal
Yeah.
who it is.
Oh,
Weird or like something that is very memorable.
I remember just now she said when she hit one of the gong, the person fell asleep immediately.
Oh, in terms of facility, and that's my husband. Like every
Oh.
time in sound therapy, hello, okay, baby, well, he will add to it. But I would say not weird, but
Memorable lah, memorable.
actually, because sound therapy is not instrument based, like I mentioned to you, right? Sound is just sound. It could be birds, it could be like rustling of the trees, it could be the wind if you really listen intently. But I was at Wonderfruit. It's a festival, or like a wellness music festival, and I go with my best friend. So for sound therapy, she hosts choirs.
What?
Choirs.
What's
like
choir? Oh. Hey, okay.
So she's a singer and also like an artist. And it wasn't any instrument, but the instrument was your voice. But then she just like I can't remember. It was almost 80 people in the tent.
Oh wow.
And she just
Mm.
got different people to sing
Om.
the same word.
But
all
different
throughout.
pitch, right?
Yeah, different pitch, but
Okay.
it could be a different. For that, it was a same word, and just being in the space. I brought my mother-in-law for the festival, and she's in her 70s, and she was just like, not exactly on tune, but she was really into it. And I think for me, the beauty and why it's definitely not weird, but it was inked in my head because you see people from all around the world. My son was there, so he was then maybe 8, but my mother-in-law was there, and then there's obviously people like us, 40s and 30s. But yeah, it's just like the beauty of everyone coming together, from people who could sing, like my best friend Tian, to someone like myself or my mother-in-law or my husband who cannot sing. But it's just the vibrations coming together. It was just so magical. Yeah. So not weird, but magical. And I think again, it's not instrument based.
Mm.
It's
So
frequency based and what
vibration.
the resonance, right? That makes it really special.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Before we end off with the time in mind, right? Is there any common misconception that people have with sound therapy? Like religion or stuff.
Oh yeah, good question.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is rooted. There are some roots in different I guess religion, but how I like to see it is so firstly, as I mentioned, it costs money to go into training or to collect all your different instruments. So I wanted to make sure that I'm not doing like voodoo magic, and I'm not like disappointing my church because I'm Christian. So I did check with my pastor, and he really said that end of the day it's an instrument, but likened to a guitar, can be used for worship music or soothing music, but can also use for satanic music. It's an instrument. It's the facilitator and the vessel again. So I cannot control, but I'll caveat as a yoga instructor too, right? Because I know this is highly contentious because for yoga, it actually has roots within a specific religion, and certain postures are worship positions. So facilitators, a lot of it is in the yoga space, also play with sound and all that. So again, I cannot comment on the facilitator. If the facilitator is very spiritual, or they have a certain religion, or they are
Intention.
their attention or
Mm.
intention
Intention.
are a specific methodology, whoever is on the receiving end will feel that energy. But for me, like, I'm Christian and I do not have those other, like, I guess spiritual aspects to it. I can only speak for myself and like my own intentions, right? So but again, it's facilitator based. So when I just want to be cautious to like, if you're going into it and you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable, you need to first feel very safe with your facilitator, because what you don't want is to be receiving energy when you're in an open, vulnerable state from someone, or a vibe that you do not want to be in or to be carried with. And the thing is, if you don't release it, it carries with you, right? So
Clearing. You have to clear.
yeah, then you have to intentionally clear.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if I'm answering your question,
The
but
intention and the
what you
intention of
allowed to
the
receive. Yeah, so facilitator base, I would say. Yeah, but in terms of the roots, like end of the day, it's an instrument that's made of different metals. It's different notes.
see how you perceive the session and the intention of the facilitator.
Yeah, like this, different kinds of note. I mean, it's similar to drums, piano, guitar.
The different harmonics.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope everyone learned something new today. Thank you, Jaclyn, for your time here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.